awesome.
It would be awesome.
All right. Remember, everyone, please squeeze in. We've got a lot of people coming in, so fill every seat. But I'm very happy to introduce George Knapp and Bob Lazar.
Contrary to what Bob is worried about, we're going to have some fun here today. Geez, he was just here like 1990. It was like yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we'd start with a couple of questions sort of that let you get to know Bob a little bit. So they played one of the great Super Bowls of all time last month. Which of the teams did you like?
Really? We're going to do sports questions?
That's kind of what I thought.
I don't even know who plays.
That's right, you don't. Tomorrow's the Oscar broadcast. Who would you think is the best picture nominee?
I have no idea.
Because you don't watch a lot of movies.
Right, yeah. That's
Breaking Bad or Sopranos, which of those series did you like best? Yeah.
You're just not on my channel.
Because you live, what I'm trying to convey is you live in Bob world, right?
Right.
What do you do? Tell them what you do now.
I live in the scientific bubble. That's just about it. I mean, it's my work is my life. Whether I am working or having fun, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's I don't know. I pretty much do the same thing.
Where you live and what you do, your business.
I unfortunately live in Michigan.
And you're glad to be in Arizona.
Yeah, I would really like to be back here. But the business is United Nuclear Scientific. We sell and build lots of scientific equipment and supplies, supply it to schools, universities, the government, everybody. We also do contract work. We do R&D work, design, construct, prototype gadgets, weird things for different companies. If they have a problem or something they're trying to solve, they'll come to me and just say, make this work. And, so we do. But the bulk of it is really just selling scientific equipment and supplies and, trying to bring that back. Back when I was a kid, used to be able to go into a hobby store and buy chemicals and have a chemistry set. Now, if you see any glassware in somebody's house, you just think they're cooking up meth or something like that. So, we try to change the tide and bring back hands-on stuff into, the current generation.
That's one of the stories told about you, right? That you had a meth lab, among others.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Do you have any government contracts?
We do government contracts.
You see where that could go. People, he's working for the government, they're paying him off. He did his job, spread disinformation. Now he's working for the government. You're not working for the government.
No, I don't work for the government, but if there's contracts, I bid on it. And every faction of the government doesn't know what the other one's doing. It's a complete mess.
I want to give them an idea. The question is raised. You're not a scientist. What kind of scientist are you? And I haven't been to your house in Michigan, but the last time I visited you, it was in New Mexico, and there was something built in the house, the building right behind your home. It was, as I recall, a 30-foot particle accelerator.
Yeah.
You built it.
Yeah.
What did you do with that? What do you do with your home particle accelerator that's 30 feet long?
Well, at the time, I was working on an efficient way of storing hydrogen for, automotive use, so it can be used as a fuel. And some of the most efficient hydrides, materials that absorb hydrogen like a sponge absorbs water, were restricted because they were used in thermonuclear hydrogen bombs. And so you couldn't purchase these materials, but there was kind of a loophole in the law where you could make them. So I had to make a particle accelerator to make the material to use and run tests on. So that's what that was all about.
You moved to Michigan in part because you thought that you were going to have some help from state government with the system, right? The hydrogen system.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, a lot of things changed. I mean, we moved partly because of, family reasons out there and just to get a change from the Southwest, which I regret. And Yeah, there was a lot of, at the time, there were a lot of unemployed auto workers, and we thought, we can hire those, but, a lot of things happened. The recession happened, and also at the same, not at the same time, but around 2008 or something, the Chinese, who at the time were making a lot of the rare earth elements, because they did it cheaply, and the U.S. mines had shut down years beforehand, decided, boy, now that, we pretty much control the market on it, we're going to go ahead and crank up the price, 10 or 100 times what it was, and it really made what we were doing impossible to do profitably. So,
your business is science related. You sell scientific equipment. You build things like a particle accelerator and jet car engines and things of that sort. But I think if you heard me talking earlier, you'd have to agree with a lot of people that you don't fit the mold as a typical scientist. I mean, you're not a member of any science organizations, are you?
No.
Do you write papers? You submit papers to?
I mean, not typically, not in the normal sense. I mean, when I first went to Los Alamos, what was really annoying to me was the typical pompous, self-righteous scientist, and they would come into town and, interact with the ordinary people and, use terminology that was over their head just to get them to say, well, what do you mean by that? And their chest would puff up and, it'd boost their ego, and it really annoyed me. So, when I worked there, I relabeled some important equipment, whirligig or something along those lines, and it really pissed them off, and it was really just, to make a long story short, I was the new guy coming from the West into the, hardcore scientific field, and it, really I was able to run circles around these guys because they followed a set path and did a set amount of things. Their support teams were very limited and weren't engaged in them because they had no idea what was going on. They never took the time to, bring these guys in. But I don't know. I just looked at things from a different point of view, and I simplified things. So explaining technical matters on a simple level, and I do that a lot. And people say, "Well, boy, you don't talk like a scientist." Yeah, I'm trying to make everyone understand, But and it works, If you talk on a simple, basic level, everyone is going to understand what you're talking about. It's easy to talk over everybody's head, but all that does is make you look like an idiot.
When I first met Bob, I remember going to his house, and there was a skull and crossbones flag flying over his house at the time. He had this giant jet car parked in the driveway. He had these videos that he shared with me that we used in one of those reports where it's a lot of machine guns. He had a lot of really interests, the kinds of interests that you don't associate with scientists. I mean, you heard my comparison to Edward Snowden. I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable, but I mean, it's sort of the same vein. There was a guy who had no academic credentials. He didn't make it through high school. He took online hacking classes. He worked as a security guard. The next time they hear from him, he becomes a computer expert for CIA and NSA. I mean, it sort of fits the mold. He doesn't fit the mold in the same sense that you don't.
No, but he fits the new mold. He doesn't fit the old mold, just as what we're used to seeing. But I
don't need a degree.
No. They're looking for talent. I think they learned a long time ago that they were missing a lot of creative people and people that would think outside the box. And if you really want to move forward, that's where it is.
Especially with computers.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Let's get to flying saucers. You got hired through EG&G to work for the U.S. Navy.
Yes.
Do you remember day one, first day out there?
No, first day out where?
First day out at the facility. How you
Well,
got there?
the first day was going to, Area 51 proper and signing all the agreements and doing all that stuff.
Signed agreements. What kind of agreements did you sign?
It was really paperwork and going over, exactly what I was going to be doing, and it was a lot of security stuff. I mean, they were questioning, my family, where we had moved. It was, boring, nothing.
They had investigated you. They'd been around talking to everybody you knew.
Yeah, clearly. And because I already had previous security clearance, it made it a little earlier, as opposed to somebody starting from scratch, which typically takes like 13 months, from what I understand, to do a top secret or civilian Q clearance.
Did you have the clearance that you needed to work there when you started working there? Or did that
No. I just had a convenient starting point where, You know, they didn't have to go back to the day I was born and, you know, verify that. They go, okay, well, he had clearance here, and we can go from there.
So you get on the plane in Las Vegas, Janet plane,
Yeah, right.
fly up there, they put you on a bus with the blacked out windows.
Oh, yeah, when we were going S4, right. Yeah.
Yes, so that you don't take, you land at Groom Lake,
Land at 51, and then,
you sign some papers.
yeah, if you want to make it a short version, yeah, right.
You had told me the story that they started showing these briefing books that sort of laid out the general story. Was that at Groom, or was that?
That was at S4.
That was at
No,
S4.
that material would never get north of
But people who work at
S4.
Groom Lake who say, I never heard any of this stuff.
Of
I never
course.
saw any flying saucers.
There is no flying saucer stuff at 51. No, that's, look, 51 is, there's lots of people working there. It'd be hard. When I worked at S4, again, I have no idea how it is today, but, you know, back in my day at S4, there were 22 people that had clearance and knowledge of the ET material, ET crafts. That was it. We were given the list. We knew the names on the list. That was it. I still know the names on that list today. And those are some of the things that I never say anything to you about, because,
Yeah, why is that?
well, exactly. There has to be some stuff I keep to myself, because you know how many times people said, yeah, hey, I worked out there with Bob, and so on and so forth. Really? Who are you? What'd you do? And whatever. And it's only the stuff I said. I'm waiting for the guy that says, hey, yeah, I worked out with you, and here's some of the other people on the list, or we did this, or is it? So if I don't keep that stuff, there's nothing I have to verify if some other guy comes up to me.
You see it all the time, though, don't you? I imagine you get emails all the time, or you read stories, or you hear claims on, if you watch television, you'd hear it, that is, about people who claim they've been out there, and obviously they're making it up.
Well, I mean, the most recent was this,
Bushman?
I think it was like, yeah, like the CIA guy or something like that. Was it?
There was an anonymous guy who had he
He
said,
was dying, or he died. Yeah, and a lot of people asked me, hey, do you know? And he was apparently very supportive of me, and but I never heard of him. And what am I going to say? I've never heard of the guy and never seen him.
Back to day one. You're at Groom. You take a bus to S4 to Papoose.
Yeah, it was an old Bluebird school bus, but navy blue.
How did you know it was called S4? Did you read that on something?
No, it was just what they said.
That's what they called it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see it written down on anything?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's an S and a 4, or S-4, or SFOUR, or
No, it's a numerical 4.
just S and 4?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you get to S4, and you see what? Describe what you saw.
Well, the first time I went, we went around, it's kind of hard to describe. There's that little mountain or rise, whatever, that ends. And the first time, I have to admit, I didn't notice it. We just drove around, and I thought it was just a flat part of the mountain. At the very end is an entrance, a flat wall with doors, and that's where we parked. We went in. And that's the first time I went into the facility at all. That's where I was taken to the medical facility. That's where I was given the briefings initially, and it wasn't until the second time that I was taken down there that we stopped in the middle, because the side that I thought was flat was actually hangar doors that were, you know, really cleverly blended into the side of the mountain.
To look like desert.
Yeah, great job.